What's going on, guys? It is MurderInc here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we're going to be talking about probably coolest new Fire Knight team that was made, and it's an awesome speed team. It goes extremely fast. I do have to say a huge shout out to my clanmate Deages for making this team. Pretty big brain if you ask me, and I'm really excited to show you guys, so let's get right into it. Alright guys, so as we can see here, we are using Lydia, we are using Seer, double Cold Heart, and then finally Kymar. I am going to go over some swaps you can make to this team for it to be just as successful for you, but overall this is a 100% win rate team. The times will in fact fluctuate from 27 seconds, which is the fastest that I've personally done, all the way up to about 40 something or maybe 50 seconds, although you're rarely going to see a 50-second run with a team like this. And while there is some RNG in the times, like I said, it is 100% consistent, so you won't be failing any of these runs. And obviously Seer is here for the wave clear, as we already saw in this first run here. I've already expressed my opinions on Seer, how strong she actually is going to be overall here, so once again, really cool team. I'm going to break down the speeds in case you want to replicate this. And as we can see, this team is getting a little bit choppy, since if you guys do use any auto clicker type programs, if you run it for long enough, the team does start to stall out a little bit. All you have to do is to refresh that. But once again, let's get right into the speeds and how this team works so you can replicate it if you do have these champions. Alright, so the first champion we're going to talk about is going to be Lydia the Death Siren. As we can see here, she does have 52,000 health, 1,900 attack, but you're not really focused on her raw damage. 2,500 defense, she's not going to get hit a lot, so that doesn't matter a lot. The key takeaway here is going to be 296 speed. It is on the high threshold of speed, but this is what you're going to need to kind of have the best success while replicating this team. And of course, anything over 220, 240 accuracy, to make sure you are landing those debuffs, because the only way the time really fluctuates is if those debuffs aren't landed, you don't have a weaken or you don't have a defense down, and it kind of throws things off. The next champion we do have here is in fact Prince Kymar. He will be in a shield set, giving those additional buffs to someone like a Seer, guaranteeing she one-shots all of those waves. His speed's going to be 207 speed. As far as the health, attack, defense, all of that's kind of up to you. You can run 100% crit rate if you want to get that extra poison. It will do a decent amount of damage. However, the Fire Knight most likely won't be getting a turn at all in this run and in this cycle. Another thing to look at is accuracy, something you probably don't have to focus on either. The next champion we're going to go over for this list is going to be Seer. I highly recommend using her in Savage gear. She is going to be at 208 speed. And as far as her health, attack, defense, none of that really matters. Once again, all that matters is 100% crit rate, as much crit damage as possible, and once again, accuracy. You don't need accuracy. This is a champion that will, as we can see here, do very well with the refresh accessories. That is a reward from the Bazaar from 3v3, so if you have some of that, definitely throw it on, because that's going to be the condition for the fastest times you'll see, which for me it was 27 seconds. The next champion we are going to go over is going to be the first Cold Heart. This one's going to have 203 speed. We have our 70% crit. We do have her in Savage gear and also as much crit damage as possible, but you will also need accuracy on this champion, so keep that in mind. If you have to sacrifice Savage gear, you can definitely do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. Try squeezing it in if possible. And finally, for our last champion, which is the second Cold Heart here, her speed is in fact very low, and there's a wide range on what speeds you can actually run this champion on. So pretty much base it off of what you see on the screen here, and you can kind of determine where your speeds are going to fit. I don't recommend making her too quick, somewhere within 10 to 15 speed of this Cold Heart here. And once again, accuracy, crit damage, 70% crit rate, and Savage gear is highly recommended. So now that we've gone over that, the most asked question is going to be, what if we don't have Kymar? Now Kymar's the only legendary that you would actually have to pull for this team, and what is the greatest champion you can swap a Kymar with? Everyone knows it is in fact Renegade. And what's awesome is there are people in my clan that have found out a way how to use Renegade in a team like this for the maximum success possible. So what we're going to do next is going to go over the gear requirements for a team like Renegade. And actually, to note on the screen here, we are seeing one of the low threshold for RNGs where defense down or weaken wasn't applied onto the boss, and this is kind of a situation where the Fire Knight actually does in fact get a turn. So back to that, let's go over the Renegade team, see how the speeds vary a little bit, and give you guys that option to make. The team is going to be a little bit slower than this team. However, when I do say slower, we're talking about literally 3 seconds, 4 seconds, sometimes 5 seconds. Just adding that to the fastest threshold, then once again adding it to the slowest threshold that this team can actually perform for you in the Fire Knight. So this team, once again, starting with Lydia, we do have 295 speed, pretty similar build to the original team here. Moving on now to our Cold Heart, she is at 185 speed, once again with Savage gear, and 70% crit rate, as well as enough accuracy to decrease the turn meter. Finally, here we are looking at a Renegade with 194 speed total. So that is a speed threshold that you can use for Renegade. Once again, the really important part is making sure she's in a shield set, hitting that speed threshold, and nothing else really matters. Moving on to our second Cold Heart here for today. This is going to be that low speed threshold Cold Heart. You can copy this speed, you can go. There is once again a slight range you can use with this champion if you want to go +5, down 5. It doesn't really matter. The main focus here is staying within that speed threshold, accuracy, 70% crit rate, Savage gear if possible to make sure you're doing the most possible damage to the Fire Knight in the turn you will actually have when his shield is down. Finally, we have Seer. Once again, pretty common build, 196 speed on the Seer, so overall we are seeing lower speeds required for the Renegade team, even though it will take a little bit longer to do, but once again, the difference is barely noticeable overall. The good thing about a Seer in this Renegade team is you can also use this for something like a Doom Tower. As we can see, there is accuracy on this specific Seer, but it is not going to be needed for the Fire Knight. Alright, so the final part we're going to talk about is Masteries. How important are they? All you really need to know is, for someone like a Cold Heart, it's a pretty standard build. This is pretty much the build you're going to be looking for all of your Cold Hearts. If you want to increase the accuracy, you can definitely use something like this. This will definitely help you out and succeed, but Cold Heart's pretty straightforward. The only champion I would look at and say, maybe I'll take this point into consideration is Lydia as well as Seer would be beneficial to both have this Evil Eye talent. For both of the teams, Lydia, you absolutely need Evil Eye. For the Renegade team, I believe you also need Evil Eye on Seer as well for the maximum potential that you can possibly get out of this team here. As far as Seer goes, the other talent that is probably going to help you out and have a lot of success for your team is actually going to be Cycle of Violence, having that 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random skill by 1 turn if the damage inflicted by the skill exceeds 30% of the target's maxed HP. Obviously, she's going to be one-shotting the waves, so if you can get that reset going into the second wave, you're going to have a great time and better success on hitting that low threshold number for the speed requirement for this team. The other thing you can take with that being said is also Cycle of Magic here. It does limit your options, but this is a type of build that you can definitely use for someone like a Seer if you wanted to go this route. Alright guys, so now that all of that's out of the way, what do you guys think? How many of you are going to start building this team right away after you see it here? As mentioned, it is currently a Fire Knight tournament. One thing I do want to know is, what teams are you guys running to your success? I'm interested, even if it's not a team like this. Definitely leave that comment below. Let me know what you're using to your success, and I look forward to seeing all the different teams you guys have. Also, hopefully this helps a ton of people out as far as what teams they can actually use to efficiently and successfully clear the Fire Knight stage 20 on a rather fast pace to further increase the value of your farming for a dungeon like this. So before we get off, once again, huge shout out to Deages for actually making this team. Very big brain, and this is a really cool team to showcase, so I'm glad I got the opportunity to 1, build it and use to my success, and 2, to show you guys as the community how cool this team was. So don't forget, if you enjoy this content, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on the notification bells, and I will see you all in my next upload.